everybody, it's me, Laura, and today we're going to be bringing out the feather canes. Yes, I should have done this a while ago, but we're doing it today for sure. So what I'm going to be starting with is a very simple kind of feather cane. We're going to be starting with my pink here, and it's like about a 1 1/4 of an inch, in diameter, and then I've got about an inch tall, and I'm going to wrap this in my black on a number 1 setting. Once I have this large stump or log trimmed up, I will then reduce it down into a reasonable size to work with. Okay, so I've reduced this cane down to about a 1/2 inch in diameter, and from there I brought in my acrylic roller and I'm starting to flatten this thing. Once I have it flattened, I'll be able to cut off my ends, and then I'll also cut this in half and then cut it in half one more time. Now that I have my 4 sections cut, I'm going to place them all together, and then I'm going to roll out a little bit of a white log, and then this log is going to be tiny, but it's going to act as my registration mark on the top and the bottom of this new cane that I'm forming. Now this cane is very much a resemblance of, yes, my segmented petal cane. Oh, who would know, right? Yes, we're going there. And I'm just going to roll this all together into one cane. Once I have this though, I'm going to set one of those white lines on its side. And when I do, I'm going to pinch this right here into a point. Now, once I have this point kind of made, or I should say pushed down onto my work surface, and I've got a really nice, really in the end, a petal cane. We're back to our segmented petal cane again. I'm going to go ahead and cut off my ends, and then once I cut off the ends, I'm going to take this long piece and cut it into 4 equal lengths. Okay, now that we have our lengths cut, I'm going to take one of those pieces and I'm going to place it down on the smaller tile. And I'm going to be laying it on its side. And when I do, I'm going to kind of just push it onto that tile a little bit. And then I'm going to take the second piece and kind of just overlap it, as you can see right here, curling up and over that first piece. I'm going to then take, once I have it in position the way I like it, take the next one, place it where it's going to also do that same thing where it kind of overlaps the second piece I had laid down, and then we'll do the same with that 4th piece as well. I'll now bring in my ruler, and this is about 2 inches in length, and I'll kind of just make the mark right in the center, and then we'll cut this in half. And then using my blade, I kind of bring it up from the plate, and there you have your 2 halves. Now we need to go ahead and insert that vein in the middle of our feather. And so I decided to go with my green here. And so this was actually rolled out on my Atlas pasta machine on a number 1 setting. And you'll notice there I also kind of cut that edge at an angle. That was intended. I want a nice little point because this is going to go in the center, right? Looks like that main vein. And then you place the other one right on the other side, and you have your feather cane. Okay, so our second feather is going to start with a Skinner blend of blue and white. And this blue and white, I want to say when I elongated this out, it was elongated on a number 1 setting on my Atlas pasta machine. Now once I had this, I do a fan fold up. My fan fold was probably about a 1/2 inch to an inch. Inch sounds kind of long though, but about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 more like of width, okay, on the one side. when it came to the height, it usually winds up being about an inch to an inch and a quarter tall. So somewhere along those lines. Anyway, from there, I go ahead and I roll it out into a regular standard kind of cane. And you can tell I took a slice off there so you can really get an idea as to kind of my blend. It's not terribly, wonderfully blended, but I like to have a little bit of that white and that little bit of blue intersecting. Anyways, I roll it up here in my black, also rolled out on a number 1 setting, and I meet it up and then I trim this up. I then take some other clay, like I think I used my white or my blue, I'm not sure, but I used another color to go ahead and make a log, okay? This log is going to be placed on the blue side and on the white side. These will be my registration marks. Apparently I'm using my green here. That's not white, not blue, it's green. I mean, what can I say? The memory is a faulty thing, right? So anyway, I'm taking and I'm making these thin green logs. I'm going to put one on the white side, one on the blue side, and these will act as my registration marks. So as you can tell here, I reduced this cane down. There's quite a bit. So I cut off the ends, put them off to the side, and then I cut this in half because there was a lot. And I'm just going to use 1/2 of this. I'll set the other to the side and maybe come back and use the rest of it later. I'll go ahead and take the other half though, and I'll flatten it out just slightly all the way with those green lines kind of facing me, not really facing up at the camera here, so kind of on the side, if you will, right? I'm going to go ahead and use my acrylic roller to flatten that out. Once I have that though, I'm going to eventually cut that in half and then cut those 2 pieces in half, giving me 4 sections of equal length altogether. At this point, I've taken all 4 of those sections and I've rolled them into a single cane once more, and I'm pushing down on the registration marks on the one side. This gives me my pointed pedal cane. Again, if you guys want to see how I do my segmented pedal canes, that would be a great help in doing this particular cane, because the feather cane is highly dependent, at least my version is highly dependent upon my segmented pedal cane. Anyways, again, I'm cutting into 4 sections here. Once I get these 4 sections, I'll then go to that simple, that smaller tile that I have right here, and I'll place one of them down on its side, just like I have. Once I have that down, and the nice thing about the blended cane is, I made the point right on the white. You could have made the point on the blue too. You have a little bit more choice there. But anyways, placing it down on its side, and then I'm also bringing in another piece of that, and I'm pushing down a little bit. I'm creating a really nice point, and then just overlapping that first piece with that second piece, and then I'll bring in the third piece and overlap the second, and then the fourth will overlap the third. From here, I went ahead and I thought, let's go ahead and cut this and see what it looks like. This is actually one of my more favorite feather types. I absolutely love the Skinner blend canes. Oh my goodness. And the feather cane is no exception. It looks beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I just love that. It looks so good. So now we have to make the vein. And this time around, I decided I didn't want to go with the plain, just center vein with the green. I thought instead, I rolled both of these clays. I want to say the blue was rolled out on a number 4 setting. The green was rolled out also on a number 4 setting. And I'm going to create a stack with this. So this stack is a lot thinner than just rolling it out on a number 1. Okay? And the reason for that is because this feather cane, okay, deserves to have a really nice vein, okay, and that's what this stack is going to do for me. It's going to create that vein up the center, but I don't want it too big. I don't want it I don't want the sections of what it's going to be as the checker right up the center. I don't want those sections too big. And that smaller setting, that 4 setting on my Atlas pasta machine really does a great job in giving me just the right size to create that vein going up that center of my feather cane. Okay, so my pink bullseye feather cane starts out actually with a pink core that's 1¼ inches in diameter, and then I wrap that in white clay off of a #1 setting on my Atlas pasta machine, and then wrap that in black, which is also done on a #1 setting on my Atlas pasta machine. Once I have that, I reduce it down like I'm doing here, and then I'm going to cut off my ends, and then I'll go through the same process as I've done before. So from here, really, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I put together this pink bullseye feather cane.
Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
This blend, I decided to use two of them. So one was a red and blue, and the other one was a blue and white. And the red and blue was actually it was wrapped in white and in black. Both were done, originally on a #1 setting. And I want to say the kaleidoscope cane that I had done last time, this was leftover cane from that. So I decided to use it in one of my feather canes here. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to cut sections on this, sections on the blue and white, combine them, and come up with a really interesting feather cane. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I put together this feather cane. Okay, so I want to mention here reduction of the feather cane just a little bit. Really, for me, when I do this, if I really want to reduce down the feather cane, I'll just roll it like I do a regular cane. And then once I get it down to the size I like, I'll re-pinch it all over again. So that's kind of what I wind up doing. Right here, I still have it at its full form, but then right here, I just start to roll it, and then I'll pull it and stretch it like I do all of my other canes. So long as I have those registration marks and I can look at it, I know exactly where to pinch it to reform my feather. All right, so this is my blend of my yellow and my magenta, and this is probably, this is one of my favorite feathers. I was planning to do this. If you check back in my segmented petal canes and you go to my latest one where I had done the cut, this is going to pertain exactly to that. And I loved the overall look once I got it. I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. I love you. And that's pretty much what happened here. This is probably, that segmented petal cane, there's so much possibility to it. This is one of the greatest highlights in being able to use it too, because the feather cane, I'm using not just one section like I do with the segmented cane, I'm using 4 of them, okay? Now you can add on, that's another thing I need to mention, you can add on more, you might say, pointed petal canes on the end there to make your feather much larger and longer if you wish. I just like to go with 4 because it's just easier and I don't have to think about it quite so much. But yes, you can add on more if you want when you create the feather cane this way. Anyway, all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk once more. And this time, really look for where I take one of those sections and I cut it up so it adds in a really fun detail to the feather. So I need to mention here that I rolled out my green clay here on a #1 setting on my Atlas pasta machine, and then I took another slice of that green and blue, which was done on a #4 as a stack, and then took a slice of this, ran that through the pasta machine on a #1, and placed it right in between in one of the sections on that green sheet. I then laid down a piece of black. I lay this piece down onto the black and just kind of wrap it up in it, and that becomes the vein of the cane itself. Now you might discover when you start putting these veins into some of these feather canes that they seem a little big for the feather itself. That's when I like to go ahead and, like right here, I'm making sure I'm kind of got all of my sections put together really well, but then I start pressing with my fingers all the way around on this cane. And I kind of even use my acrylic roller once in a while just to roll it out a little bit further so that it gets then down to the size that I really like. All right, so my final feather cane that I'm going to be showing you guys is really a combination of a lot of the other canes you've seen before, plus this one. And this is my green fan-folded cane, my Skinner blend cane, and I'm wrapping it up in my black clay here, which was done on a #1 setting on my Atlas pasta machine. Once I have this put together, I like to take, well, I'm going to take a blue log, just a light blue log, and I'm going to put one on one end of that light green and the one on the dark green. Use those as my registration lines and then reduce this thing. Once I have this reduced, then I'll go ahead and use my my acrylic roller and flatten it out on the one side, and then I'll cut that into 4 sections. Once I have that cut into 4 sections, then we're going to have some fun, because I'm not going to use just this cane. In fact, I don't use all of it. I use only a portion of it. Instead, I plan to bring in one portion of that blue and red that's been surrounded in the white and black, and then one portion of the blue and white of that Skinner blend. I want to use these all together. I thought a cornucopia of color, right? Have some fun, right? And so I am going to take one of those green pieces though, and here's the difference. Just like I kind of did on the last one where I had cut down on that one section on the side, I'm going to do that again. Except this time I'm bringing in that bullseye, and so that pink and white bullseye that I had done before, I'm taking a small portion from the original piece and I'm really making this tiny. I'm bringing it down tiny, right? And as you can see, just almost like a tiny log I would use for a registration. Instead, we're just rolling this all the way down. I'm going to place that bullseye right into, and I didn't have enough room. That's why I kind of took out just a little bit more. I was like, I don't have quite enough room to put that in there. But put the bullseye in instead of flipping around that extra green part. That's what I decided to do. I thought, let's try this. Let's see what it looks like if you add in this one little different kind of feature. Now, when I brought in the other segmented pieces, you know, the blue and white, the red and blue, along with the green piece, they were just a little too thick. And because of that, I had to take each segmented piece separately and using my acrylic roller, flatten them a little more so they would be the same height as the segmented piece I had placed that bullseye into. As you could tell right here with that blue and that white and the red and the blue, yeah, those had to be rolled out just a little bit more, and eventually I got to the green piece. Guess what has to be done too? Sorry about the shaking. Kind of happens when I use that roller. But from here, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I put this last feather cane together. Okay, one last thing I want to mention here. I gave this a very plain black center vein, and the reason is because there's so much color and so much going on in the feather itself. I didn't want to take away from that, and that's why I gave it a nice black center vein. Okay, so these are the results in creating my feather canes in polymer clay. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.